What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be looking at Rollout Shadow Glalie. Glalie got the addition of Rollout to its move pool, which gives it a much needed fast charging charge attack to reach its expensive charge moves in Shadow Ball and Avalanche. Now, the non-Shadow is actually ranked a little bit higher than the Shadow. However, the Shadow seems to pick up more wins and have a higher average, so I'm not really sure how that works out. So today I'm going to be taking a look at the Shadow. I have a really good Shadow one, like with good IVs. I have a good non-Shadow as well, but I figured we would take a look at it today. We have two Pokemon in the back that cover its weaknesses pretty well. It's weak to fighting, it's weak to fire, it's weak to steel. It's got a whole bunch of weaknesses because it's just a mono ice type. So we're covering all those weaknesses with a Clodsire Safe Switch with Earthquake and Stone Edge, and then Jellicent in the back. So let's hop into some battles. We've got Serperior on the lead. So this normally would be a good lead, but now that we're on Rollout, it's not as great. However, my opponent sees the Ice type and just switches out. And then they come in with a Lapras, and they actually outpace the first move. And I do shield that up, but I do want you guys to take notice when I do decide to no shield how much damage charge moves do to Glalie. They're not much. This Pokemon is actually a lot bulkier than I expected, and I didn't really look at its stat product until after. Either way, we come in eventually with our Jellicent because we completely wall every single move that Lapras can learn, and then they give up Switch again, but that does let me outpace, get to the Shadow Ball, and then at this point, once I've chipped with the Shadow Ball, I can pretty much just let it go because that Lapras is pretty much dead. So it's not really going to find any use other than like as a catch potentially for my opponent in the end game. So I'm just going to come in with Clodsire. I can probably just go for the Poison Sting farm down. I don't really want to take a Frenzy on my Glalie and then just lose it, especially because I do think I have some energy left. I probably will go just for the full farm down and then just shield once. Is that what I'm going to do? Or I'm going to let both go and let Shadow Glalie try and sweep. Interesting. Let's see. Instantly switching, expecting an instant throw from the Lapras, and we do get the catch. And look at that, Sparkling Aria didn't even get me into the red, and then it's a Togetic in the back. So unfortunately for my opponent, say goodbye to your HP. They do have a shield, but they are no way going to outpace. All I have to do is shield this up. They're not at back-to-back moves, and even if they were, Glalie's going to win CMP over Togetic, I imagine. So Avalanche from nearly full health KOing the Togetic. So that's what I think is really special about this Pokemon, especially as the Shadow. It can nearly one-shot everything. Also, Serperior 2 games in a row, but this one is staying in. This one I throw on alignment because we'd be getting to the Friendly and the Avalanche at the same time, which does give them a free Vine Whip, but I'd almost prefer that. And then I'm probably going to have to throw on alignment again if I want to outpace once again. But yeah, this thing has decent bulk and it hits really hard. So honestly, the best of both worlds. The Serperior decides that they're not going to win that pacing match. So they just let the Avalanche through, and that is a clean KO. And they do CMP tie us on the next Avalanche. So we kind of just have to let this go. An Aura Wheel will be enough to KO from this range. Morpeko hits like a beast. And then unfortunately, I kind of just have to come in with my Clodsire and eat these. I did get one turn lag, which is unfortunate because my Clodsire doesn't get a Poison Sting through when it should have. Then they come in with a Lapras in the back. Chipping, probably not the greatest play because even though it is super effective coverage, I'm not going to be able to Hex farm down really. And Jellicent already has a great matchup here, so probably should have just come in Jellicent and then saved that energy. But let's see how this match turns out. Yeah, going for the undercharge exactly, because now I need to go for a Hex farm down. And I will take this move, that's just fine. But I need to be able to outpace and get to a move. Unfortunately, the undercharge does let me get to a move here. And this Surf would threaten probably deep red, so they do end up shielding that. And now my opponent has to make it to back-to-back Psychic Fangs before I can make it to a Stone Edge. And it looks like they just got there as I got to the Stone Edge. So unfortunately for my opponent, that was on CMP. We get the Stone Edge off. They do not get their second through, and then we're able to poison sting down the Lapras for the win. Okay, into the next match, we've got Steelix. Okay, what do we do here? Because it's on Thunderfang, so that's neutral here. We can't just come in with Clodsire right away, especially because that's not a great matchup either. Because our fast move is triple resisted. And then Jellicent, even though we can hit super effective, they hit super effective on us. So I just chip with a Avalanche and then come in with my safe swap. The worst they can do is the Psychic Fangs because I didn't farm up to the Earthquake. And then are they going to stay in, go for a catch? I guess they're just going to stay in and take this Earthquake. And yep, they're just going to let it go. Okay, that's pretty nice for me. Then they come in with a Azumarill, and unfortunately, I'm not running Sludge Bomb, and I also don't know what happened there. I guess I got outpaced somehow? I'm not really sure. Either way, I let that go, and that actually KOs from that range, which is pretty surprising. It is super effective, but I guess I wasn't expecting it to do that much damage. Either way, able to come in with our Jellicent, pretty much wall this thing. They will have neutral play roughs, and I will let one go. But the question is, at what point do we get into our Glalie here to get an energy lead? Because I think we're going to need that. But we do farm up and then throw the Shadow Ball on CMP. So this will be enough to KO from this range, and it is a Primeape in the back. So Glalie not really going to have much play into the Primeape, other than to potentially grab a shield. Yeah, we catch a Rage Fist, which, you know, that is pretty nice. And we get the sneak through, which means we can also get to an Avalanche and even throw on good timing, which is always nice. They're kind of forced to shield that because that would probably one-hit KO. And then now we just have 2 shields. So even though they can probably get to 2 more Rage Fists before we can get to a move here, yeah, exactly. They're not going to be able to get to 3. So we can just shield this up, click the Shadow Ball, and because Primeape is so glassy, Shadow Ball from 75% HP and a little bit less, like 65, will be enough to KO. Okay, Glalie into Charjabug. This is a decent lead now because we have super effective rollouts, and then they come in with Goodra, which, newsflash, Goodra, we have super effective Avalanche, so we're just going to stay on this matchup because I don't know if my opponent knows this, but I have a Clodsire in the back, so that'll completely wall the Charjabug, so we don't really need to switch anything in here. They do go straight Thunder Punch, going for the harder hitting move. They shield both Avalanches, which is kind of surprising, and they do throw in good timing, but I'm still going to get to an Avalanche before my opponent is even able to switch back out, and this will be enough to KO. And are they going to come back in with that Charjabug? No, they're going to need a farm down with a Gastron. I kind of just have to let that farm me down. And then I can come in with my Jellicent. I do get 1 turn lag, so I lose an entire hex worth of energy, which is pretty unfortunate. Earth Power does connect, and they get the defense fall, so that's unfortunate. So that's 2 really unfortunate things coming out of this matchup, because yeah, now we can't get the farm down, and we're 1 short on the Surf. Had we gotten that extra hex through, we would have gotten the Surf and KO'd this Gastron, which means they wouldn't have gotten this Earth Power chip onto my Clodsire. And even though this is a great matchup for the Clodsire against the Charjabug, I'm going to come out too low, and their Gastron's just going to be able to one-shot farm me down. So what I have to do is I basically have to have this KO and then have a Stone Edge loaded for the Gastron, and it doesn't quite. I can probably still survive a move here. Yeah, Exeter just barely survive. And I survive 2 more Volt Switches, so really good. Noticing that on my part, farming up as much as possible to get that Stone Edge off, but sadly we're just 1 turn short on that Stone Edge and unable to get the win because of that 1 turn lag. So thank you, Niantic. Woohoo! Okay, Morpeko in the lead. Morpeko's tough because yeah, it's just not great, and I think I lost to a Morpeko and then I won to a Morpeko, so I guess we'll see if this is the loss. I kind of have to shield the first Aura Wheel because Aura Wheel would just do way too much damage to the Glalie. I don't think it would KO one shot, but even with this catch, right? I mean, this is a neutral Aura Wheel now, and it's boosted. So yeah, that is 50% of my Clodzire's HP. And all they have to do from this point is go straight Psychic Fangs. So I kind of just forced to let this go. I wouldn't be able to outpace in any situation ever. So I let it go. I'm just going to have to come back in with my Glalie. I do fortunately have an Avalanche loaded. So we're able to get this Avalanche off. And they double shield, which is, you know, super unfortunate. And I would really like to no shield here and just farm down with my Jellicent, but I can't. They're dark. Hex is resisted. That would just never happen. Fortunately, we do outpace, but this single Morpeko has taken out 1 3/4 of my Pokemon, so I would need an absolute wall in the back. And unfortunately for me, they have a Registeel, and I'm going to need to connect with a Shadow Ball, stay in so that they are forced to throw their energy, and then I have to outpace with my Jellicent, also get they have running Flash Cannon, which is super effective, which is kind of crazy. I have to do a Shadow Ball here. This has to KO the Reggie, and then there has to be something super weak. Like if it's a Lapras, that's like my only win con. And it does KO, and it's an Altaria in the back. So this is actually a pretty neutral matchup. I do wish I was running Ice Beam in this scenario. That would be super nice. But I am not. But it looks like 2 Shadow Balls will cleanly KO. So it's just about how much damage this does to the bulky Jellicent. And they're running Dragon Pulse, and that doesn't quite do it. And that means we're able to make it to a Shadow Ball, and that's enough to KO, and we're able to take that game. So Jellicent with the sweep there, pretty nice. Okay, Lapras on the lead. This is a decent lead because we have super effective rollouts. As we've seen, the Sparkling Arias hurt, but they don't do too much damage. So we're going to let the first one go, and even though these sideways are chipping, our rollouts are doing more. And this does put me in the red. But I am going to go for a Shadow Ball after a couple more rollouts, and my opponent has to decide what they want to do, and they let it go. And then I switch in Jellicent, hoping that they would just panic and throw and waste their energy, and that's exactly what happens, which is fantastic. But then they have a Morpeko in the back, so that is not great because this thing still has 2 shields, and even though my opponent is ABA weak to fighting, I do not have a fighter on the lead, so they're going to start burning my shields. Unfortunately, both Aura Wheels are super effective on the Jellicent here, so I kind of forced into letting this next one go. And then they'll be back on Electric, which is good because then I can just come in with my Clodsire. That being said, they do obviously have super effective Poison Stings, and I at least don't get 1-turn switch this time, which is nice. I get my Poison Sting through. Psychic Fangs does hurt, and I think they're going to be close to another one, like they're going to outpace. Yeah, so I kind of I'm just going to let this go again. No, I'm actually going to shield this one. Ooh, and they went for the Aura Wheel, so that was a nice shield. I'm surprised they were already at it. I went for the catch in case they did get to the move there, but they did not. And my opponent comes back with Morpeko, expecting to get the farm down, not realizing I had an Avalanche loaded, so down goes the Morpeko, and now it's a Fairy against my Poison Clodsire, so this is actually super nice. Even though we are chipped to half HP, we're also loaded with energy, and we are able to get to the Stone Edge before they can make it. They would need at least 2 Swifts, I think, from that range, so we're able to take the win. Alright, into the next match, we've got Sableye, Shadow Sableye. So this thing obviously is going to have a pacing advantage on us. It's straight 5 to the foul plays now, so but foul plays also do less damage, so I can let the first one go. These Shadow Claws will start adding up, and I'm just going to go for the neutral, harder hitting Avalanche. Avalanche on Glalie is almost, on Shadow Glalie, is almost a 3 damage per energy move. It's absurd. It's like 2.88 damage per energy. It's absolutely insane. Either way, we grab the shield. We come in with a Clodsire as our safe switch. They let the Earthquake go. And then they come in with the Superior here. I'm just going to let this go. I don't think a Frenzy will KO from this range. It'll put me low, but I'm at the Stone Edge. Unfortunately not running Sludge Bomb, but we still get some decent chip. And I'm actually able to make it to an Avalanche, but they make a really nice catch onto the Bastiodon. But we do bait it out, which is really nice because we kind of needed to do that because they still have a Superior that's decently healthy, and we need to get some surfs off on this Bastiodon. But we kind of have to, we have 2 shields remaining. We have to commit pretty much everything to our Jellicent here because our Cloud Zyre is so low. And then we just have to be wary of a snipe. So there is the snipe attempt. We will shield this up. Bastion, I think, is at like 3 smackdowns, so maybe 4 away from the next. So we just have to manage our energy correct here. We did go for the Shadow Ball. Don't quite get the farm down. Just going for a Surf here. And I think I had the Shadow Ball loaded, which is pretty unfortunate. Surf doesn't KO, but I can just switch in the Cloud Zyre as kind of like a safe haven in case they did get to the move. They were kind of forced to farm down. And then at this point, it's a race, and I actually get to the Surf before they're able to get to a Stone Edge, and we're able to take that win. So honestly, the Cloud Zyre Jellicent pairing in the back is working out super well for me. I think there's an argument to be made. Also, this is an interesting lead. I was planning on just throwing the rollout and then switching because I didn't want to take the, I wanted to defer the super effective Incinerate onto my Cloud Zyre, so that way it was just neutral. But they come in with a Credillia at the same time that I come in with my Cloud Zyre, so that's pretty interesting. But then they go straight Rock Tomb, which is odd. But anyways, as I was going to say, I think there is an argument to be had for Megahorn Cloud Zyre in this meta. There are so many Darks, there are so many Psychics, there's Credillia. I think it just has a lot of play in this meta, and I can't believe I'm saying that because, I mean, it's a community day move, so I just think that's really cool that it might actually have play in this meta. What would you run with it? Probably Earthquake or maybe even Stone Edge. Either way, we're able to grab, I think, both shields here with the claw. Oh no, just one. They actually let that go and they survived that. That is double super effective charge move, so that's kind of surprising. And somehow they are able to throw an Incinerate and get a charge move off, which they shouldn't be able to do, which means I got 1 turn lag, which is pretty unfortunate. However, they were out of move, so they should have just thrown it either way. That being said, we're going to farm up. All we have to do is make it to back-to-back avalanches, because once again, these avalanches hit like a mother trucker. Yeah, and my opponent realizes what was going to happen to them, and they resign the match. Glalie and Wheezing. So this is a pretty neutral lead, at least type neutral. They do kind of throw an alignment, which gives us 1 turn of free energy, which is pretty nice. Sludge is buffed, right? It's going to do about 50% of our HP now, especially on the Shadow. But this Avalanche, I bet, is going to do even more. And my opponent just resigns the match. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just respected the spice. Who knows? Marowak and Lee. This is not a great lead because we're on rollout now, but my opponent just sees the ice typing and they swap out. That game has come in clutch for us twice now. And then they switch into a Dugong, which is forced to kind of just eat a Shadow Ball. And then I come in with my Jellicent just to soak up the energy. And they go for an Icy Wind, which is a little bit weird. Not even going for the neutral drill runs. A drill run here is not going to threaten, so I just let this go. They Icy Wind again for some reason. At this point now I can't get the Hex farm down, which is kind of annoying, but excuse me, annoying. Then they switch out into a Drapion, and we have the Surf loaded. And now we can just come in with our Cloud Zyre. We can eat these Aqua Tails for breakfast. It's very important to have that as for your balanced meal. I think I'm probably just gonna go straight Stone Edge in this match. Like they're at 2 shields. This is a non-shadow Drapion, so it's a little bit bulkier, but I mean they're still probably gonna shield this. Even if they expect a bait, it's not the end of the world. Stone Edge would still chip. And I can survive another Aqua Tail here, and they're still not gonna be able to Poison Sting farm me down because they're the non-shadow. So they make a really nice catch onto their Dugong, which actually might bring them back into this matchup because that was a 1 HP. They are able to get the farm down, and now it's about whether I can make it to like 2 Surfs plus an Avalanche. Oh, and they let that go. That's actually massive. What is that Pokemon that is still alive? I literally forget, even though it was here 2 seconds ago. I'm going for an aggressive rollout farm down and then just shielding. Expecting Glalie energy to be good in this end game. Oh yeah, it's just the Drapion. And now it's just about, can we get outpaced? I can survive one charge move here because they're the non-shadow, and they actually bait with an Aqua Tail, which is huge because now we have saved the shield, and I just need to get to this Avalanche, and I don't think there are back-to-back moves, so I can shield this up, throw the move before the switch timer is up. Yep, thrown instantly. And then can I get the rollout farm down before they get a mud slap farm down is the question, and the answer is yes. We're able to take that win. So yeah, that is the team. Shadow Glalie really surprised me. It's got way better bulk than I expected. Its typing isn't great, but its charge moves are fantastic. Its fast move is now decent. It's pretty easy to team build around with Jellicent and Clodsire. I thought that was that's two meta Pokemon right there that pair well with this Pokemon, so that was super nice. And yeah, it just hits like an absolute truck. So honestly, I was prepared to say don't build this, it's not worth it, but based on the matchups that I had with it, I would argue it's got a niche, and a very cool niche at that. It is an ice type Pokemon that can beat Talonflame in the ones. So that's just something to keep in mind. This is a Pokemon that could see play in some limited metas down the line, I think. And it's not bad in open either. So that's it for me. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, peace.